Uh-oh, AI does it again. Software engineer lost his 150K a year job to AI. He's been rejected from 800 jobs and forced to DoorDash and live in a trailer to make ends meet. Now, I'm going to say, like, it sucks losing your job. The job search is rough. No one enjoys it. Sounds like he's had to make some sacrifices. And I feel for that, truly. But this has turned into an article, so we are just going to be blunt about the impact of this, and I call bullshit. I believe this article is probably pushing for a narrative around how AI is taking over and replacing people, because that's very trendy right now. Very trendy. So, and I'm calling bullshit on that. So let's kind of dig into it, but I can tell you, I've focused for the last 5 years on just helping people land jobs in the industry. And yes, it is harder in many areas. And as an experienced developer, if you are getting rejected from 800 jobs, you are royally fucking up. You are horrible at the job search. There is something major about this, and it's not AI. But let's go ahead and dive in. Anthropic CEO predicted AI will be doing all coding tasks by next year. Yes, we've all heard that. And he has no incentive, no agenda in pushing this narrative whatsoever. He is just being candid and open and honest and just, warning people. No incentive whatsoever to push this narrative. He's just doing it out of the kindness of his own heart. Okay, so AI is going to be replacing all coding tasks by next year. Got it. But an existential crisis is already hitting some software engineers. One man who lost his job last year has had to turn to a living in an RV trailer, door dashing and selling his household items on eBay to make ends meet, as his once 150K salary has turned to dust. Tech layoffs are nothing new for Sean Kay. The software engineer first lost his job after the 2008 financial crisis and then again during the pandemic. But on both occasions, he was back on his feet just a few months later. However, when Kay was given the pink slip last April, he quickly realized this time was different. AI's revolution to the tech industry was playing out right in front of him. So far, there's an assumption that it was because of AI, but where's the proof of that? Despite having 2 decades of experience, holy shit, he has 2 decades of experience and 800 rejections. I have never seen someone fuck up the job search so poorly. I literally have never heard of this before. This is actually crazy. Okay, so he's landed fewer than 10 interviews from the 800 applications he's sent out. That's a red flag to me. Worse, wow. Okay, I'm just going to keep reading. Worse yet, some of those few interviews have been with an AI agent instead of a human. This is like an extremely rare circumstance. This is just like desperately latching on to this narrative of this AI takeover. Like everything about this article so far just reeks of that. I feel super invisible, which is, yeah, if you're getting rejected that much, you're going to feel invisible. I do get that. I feel unseen. I feel like I'm filtered out before a human is even in the chain. Holy shit. Oh my God. This is like this is just fear. Okay, so I feel badly for this person, but like this person literally just runs off of anxiety and fear. Purely. There is, like, you just need to talk to more recruiters. In general, like, just read more of what they're saying. Like, a lot of the resume services are going to get human attention. It might get rejected quickly, but a lot of resumes just get rejected based off of application time, right? They get a lot of applications, and if you don't, I got a hair. If you don't apply very quickly when that job opens, there are a lot of people applying for that same position, especially if it's a well-respected company. So a lot of the automation of filtering out resumes happens based off of date of submission. Outside of that, like ATS systems that are being automated and AI that's automating the process. It's extremely rare for that to be in the industry in software engineering for recruiters right now. Recruiters are looking at your resume and they are rejecting it. They might not be looking at it for very long, but you are getting a lot of human eyes on your resume and it just gets rejected. If it gets rejected quickly, it might feel like, oh, I'm just getting automated out. There's literally no proof of this. And recruiters, time and time again, like if you just follow them, they're saying, listen, like we're getting a lot of resumes, but we don't have this like automated system to start automating a lot of your resumes out just based off of keywords. The resume will get looked at. Like 99% of companies do not have these automated systems that are just like weeding you out and you feel like you have the experience, and it's the reason why you're just getting rejected is because you're just automated out. That's not the case. That's not happening. And I created a video kind of talking about ATS systems, and we went over a really good article, but it mimicked a lot of like what I was hearing from other recruiters and hiring managers. This like automated out. Now you're just linking it with AI because again, it just boosts this narrative that AI is just replacing everyone in all jobs, and it's just you're just you're farming engagement. Not this person individually, but the people that continue reiterating that AI is just replacing everyone and society is just screwed because of AI. And it's just a narrative that continues to be clickbait over and over and over. And it puts fear and this false perception of what's actually happening into people like this who, quite frankly, just really, really fucking suck at the job search. And that's where they need to improve. But he's latching on to these ideas. And it's easy to also latch on to this external force that's preventing you from achieving your goals instead of owning up to what you are fucking up. And I would absolutely love to hear what the author has said, or actually, who is the individual? Nothing new for Sean K. I just want to get his name right. So I would love to hear Sean K talk about all the things he is fucking up in the job search. I would love to hear that. Right? That gives me a little bit more hope that he's not just placing this blame on an external resource and that he can actually have potential to improve. But I doubt I'm going to see that in this article. All right. And while fears about AI replacing jobs have been around for years, the 42-year-old thinks his experience is only likely the beginning of a social economic disaster tidal wave. Okay. The Great Displacement is already well underway, he recently wrote on his Substack. Okay, so he wrote that. Hold on. Really? Oh, God. This is just a pure victim. Oh my God, this victimhood is so cringe. It's so fucking cringe. Okay, we're going to get through this article. But now so it's not just the author of this article spinning up the story. Like, it sounds like this dude has dove deep headfirst into victimhood and he just wants to blame some external force. Okay, now I have context. Making ends meet with DoorDash, he says it's a fate coming for basically everyone. Oh my God. It's just so dramatic. Come on. Kay's last job was working at a company focused on metaverse, an area that was predicted to be the next great thing, only to be overshadowed in part by the rise of ChatGPT. Who? By Mark Zuckerberg? Like, very quickly we figured out it was a hot pile of garbage. Again, where's AI replacing you here? Metaverse has been a hot pile of garbage for a long time, and your company couldn't pivot? Now living in a small RV trailer in central New York with no lead on a new tech job, Kays had to turn to creative strategies to make ends meet and try to replace a fraction of his former $150,000 salary. Who the fuck would want to hire a victim like this? Like, do you have any articles talking about like what you can improve and like even just soft skills? Like, it just reeks of victimhood. Everything about this reeks of victimhood. Just opening up that article confirmed it. But who would want to hire a victim? No company wants to hire a victim. Like, you got away with this kind of attitude for a long time with this company. Maybe fix yourself, maybe fix your personality, maybe fix your approach to the job search. There's so much you can improve if you just own that. But you're just diving deeper into victimhood. In between searching incessantly for new jobs, checking his empty email inbox, researching the latest AI news, why the fuck are you... Why? Why are you even looking at AI news? He delivers DoorDash orders like Buffalo Wild Wings to local Holiday Inn and sells random household items on eBay like an old laptop. In total, it only adds to a few $100. I mean, good for you for doing DoorDash. You are making ends meet, hopefully, and that's respectable. It's the only respectable thing I've heard about you, though. He's also considered going back to school for a tech certificate. Please don't do that. Don't do that. Or even to obtain a CDL trucking license, but both were scratched off his list due to their hefty financial barrier to entry. Good. Like, if you want to go for your CDL trucking license, I don't know if a lot of trucking companies will pay for that if you get hired on. Sometimes trucking companies are really desperate. I wonder if they would. Kay's reality may shock some. No, it doesn't shock anyone. It shocks people who continue to just build up a ton of anxiety looking up articles like this. It doesn't shock anyone intelligent. Considering that the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics has consistently labeled software engineering as one of the fastest growing fields, stories like his may soon become all more common. So if it's one of the fastest growing fields and he is struggling significantly and not part of the statistic, maybe the problem is him. Earlier this year, the CEO of Anthropic predicted, I can't even read his name, it's so cringe, predicted that more software engineer jobs will soon go by the wayside by September. He said AI will be writing 90% of the code. Moreover, in 12 months, we may be in a world where AI is writing essentially all of the code. What? It's like people, through fear, have completely lost their awareness of incentive, of tech leaders saying this stuff. Like, it's like people don't even want to dig in. They don't want to look at the background. They don't want to look at what this person has to gain for shouting out this very controversial news. You ever think that maybe, just maybe, tech creators that really push an extreme narrative about how AI is taking over everything, they need to push that because of how much AI is struggling to be adopted? Right? Like at an enterprise level with a lot of companies, do you ever think that maybe they're being extreme with their takes because their AI products aren't taking off like they had hoped? They aren't profitable like they had hoped? Just an idea. In 2024, over 150,000 tech workers lost their jobs, and so far in 2025, that number has reached over 50,000 according to layoffs. Yes, there are a lot of layoffs. It's coming for basically everyone in due time. But again, there's been no proof that there's any connection to AI doing this. Like, interest rates have a lot to do with it. And we are already overdue for proposing any real solution in society to heading off the worst of these effects. The discussion of AI job replacement in the mainstream is still viewed as something coming in the vague future rather than something that's already underway, because that's true. Losing his job isn't the only issue. Despite being unemployed for over a year, Kay still hasn't lost hope, nor is he necessarily mad at AI for replacing him. And still, again, like, where is the proof that AI has replaced you? And still calls himself an AI maximalist? Maybe that's your problem. Some people are just so deep into AI. We can just take bits and pieces. We can utilize it sparingly and have it effectively improve our lives. But then you have people, and I think this is almost like a side effect of just diving too deep into AI. You just become this nihilist, or you become nihilistic. I always get that word wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's so pessimistic and doom-pilled. It's like, you can very much get this way, diving deep, severely deep into technology. This isn't even a problem with AI. This has always been a problem of people who dive too deep into technology and quite frankly need to just touch some grass. Tech just has this way about it that depresses people. It's like it's a double-edged sword where it can improve our lives for people that use it in moderation, but people that go the extreme route with it tend to be more depressed, it seems like. Why do you think that is? If AI really legitimately can do a better job than me, I'm going to sit here and feel bad about, oh, it replaced me, it doesn't have the human touch. I'm not going to sit here and feel bad about it. Why are you even proposing this idea that AI can do a better job than you? You have 20 years of experience. If AI can do a better job than you with 20 years of experience, how many red flags do we need to point to the problem being you? What's frustrating he has is that companies are using AI to save money by cutting talent rather than leveraging its power, embracing cyborg workers. I think there's this problem where people are stuck in the old world business mindset of, well, if I can do the same work that 10 developers were doing with one developer, let's just cut the developer team, instead of saying, oh, well, we've got a 10 developer team, let's do 1000x work that we were doing before. Like, what? Why do you propose that? You're just making a bunch of assumptions. Do we just dive into the article? Maybe we do a follow-up. It's a pretty big article. I kind of want to see how doom-pilled this individual is. So, okay. Let me share my thoughts. This is clearly doom-pilled. It's just a negative perspective. Of course it is, right? And I hope this individual sees that as well. I understand how when you think that you've been doing all the right things, when you feel like you've put a ton of effort into the job search and it hasn't been fruitful, you haven't landed that job, when you aren't really data driven with how you're going about the process, you don't realize like what things you can improve, you analyze that through data. It's easy to, when you don't feel like you have control over the results, it's easy to project your insecurities and fears and just like heighten them quite a bit and start blaming external resources. I'm sure this person did put a lot of effort into the job search. I'm sure they did. And they put a lot of effort royally fucking it up. I've watched experienced developers going through layoffs all the time. I'm connected with a lot of people. And to put out 800 applications, you had 10 interviews, none of which landed you a job. This just reeks of you fucking up the interviews, definitely fucking up the job search. Everything about this does not line up with what experienced developers are capable of. So I have no idea who this author is and what their job search strategy is. You might be a great software engineer. You very well might be. I have no idea. I can tell you're really poor with the job search, and that's okay. A lot of developers are. You're not meant to be good with the job search if you're a good software engineer because you've kept your developer job, right? So when I say how horrible you are and how much of a fuck up you are at the job search itself, that is not an insult. That is saying there's so much you can significantly improve with it. And even just like selling yourself and putting your name out there as this giant victim who's been replaced by AI, well, a ton of other software engineers are doing just fine. It's like you have a perception problem. The way you're selling yourself as a software engineer is a red flag to begin with. I don't know why you would ever agree to do this, but it's like it has that same energy of people in LinkedIn not landing jobs for a while and then lecturing hiring managers on what they're supposed to look for in order to hire them. And hiring managers and recruiters just don't know what they're doing. You have that same victimhood energy that is just, who the fuck would want to hire that? That is so depressing and No one wants to hire a victim like that. So, a few things I'm going to recommend without knowing you. I'm talking like they're going to watch my video, and that's probably not going to happen. But so this message is for anyone that kind of feels like there's any truth to this article. If you're applying for 800 positions and you've only gotten 10 interviews, you are just throwing spaghetti at the wall. You're not trying to line your skills up. You're not trying to line up a good culture fit, your interest in like the kind of problems you want to solve. You are just throwing spaghetti at the wall. You are mass applying. Yes, you will get this result if you are just mass applying. But I would really start thinking about, and so when you start lining yourself up to apply for jobs where there is some alignment, you put more effort into it. It's a tailored cover letter that's not some template. It's a custom cover letter every single time. And you are spending time like following up with people on the team through LinkedIn, showing your interest, not just people on the team, but very least a recruiter. Like 3 days later, message the recruiter, show that interest, because a lot of people are just throwing their resume out there to anyone that has a job posting and hoping for the best. It feels like you're making a lot of effort in that instance, and you're not. You're not being efficient with your effort. You're not being effective. And then you get stories like this. So there could be an alignment issue of who you're applying for. It could be you're in the middle of nowhere and you have no remote experience and you're expecting a remote job. It could be again, presentation, pure victimhood. No hiring manager I know would ever hire you. Seeing an article like this, I don't know why you attached your name to this. This was I don't know why. I mean, I don't think it'll completely bar you from any position, but this is not helping your case. And I'd be curious about how you're selling yourself as a developer. And are you going to meetups? Are you participating in are you giving back to the community? I mean, even me just starting a meetup in Chicago to help developers made me more attractive to other employers. I wanted to give back to the community. I don't know what you're doing to build up your self-branding. And I think that's a big thing that people often, they often neglect, especially experienced developers. And if you're having trouble as an experienced developer, how are you representing yourself on social media? If you are an experienced developer and you're having a really hard time, it's there's something about your presentation, even if it's how you sell your skills on your resume, but maybe it's your LinkedIn. Remember, most companies are going to look up your social media. If they're seriously considering you as a candidate, they will look up your social media. And what does your social media and your blog posts say about you? I don't know if it's actually 2 decades of experience that just includes your education and trying to become a developer. I don't know what that means, right? The article wasn't that clear about it. But I'm assuming you have at least 2 to 3 years of professional experience, which 2 decades, there's something that you really truly need to put yourself into a perspective that AI didn't replace me, right? And the reason that I'm not getting jobs is because of me. I am fucking up something horribly. You had 10 interviews, which none, they all fell through. So the way you interview, there's something about that. But also, you've applied for 800 positions and only have gotten 10 follow-ups. There's something about that. Everything about the results of what you shared just screams that you are the reason why you weren't getting a job yet. You were very much the reason why you weren't getting a job. And until you put yourself in that tough perspective and play devil's advocate to your obviously fearful perspective of AI, I don't think you're going to make a lot of progress. And I think you're going to be stuck doing DoorDash for a long time. And that's sad because I want you to be successful with this, but you're not going to be with this perspective. And anyone else that latches onto stuff like this, neither will you. Please, it's okay to admit that the market is rough, right? And we don't have to be completely harsh on ourselves that we are completely the reason why we are struggling. But you need to own that you are a majority of the reason. And until you do, you're not going to start identifying the things that you need to in order to take the right steps to improve your presentation, your job search strategy, your alignment with companies, and finally land that position. If you aren't critical about the things that you can control, This is where your mind turns to fearful and anxious thinking. Please don't do this to yourself.